So today we've got a small hatchback with a 1.2 liter naturally aspirated engine for good fuel economy. Another subcompact sedan with a 1.5 liter naturally aspirated engine, also for good fuel economy. And finally, a compact sedan, pretty sporty at that, and a 1.5 liter turbocharged engine, you guessed it, for good fuel economy. If you've ever wondered just how far apart these three options are when it comes to real numbers, then this video is definitely for you. This is our Honda RS Comparo.
Okay, time check. It's 4:45 a.m. I'm the first one here because I'm here in QC. So, taga South yung dalawa. We'll be heading out at 5 a.m. here in Balintawak to Clark. It's around 100 kilometers for our highway mileage testing.
So usually when we check the fuel economy, we rely on the trip meters built in, and we find they're usually 10 to 15% off the real world number, which is not so big. It's less than half a kilometer per liter. But since this is a Comparo for science, we're going to be doing the full tank method and zeroing all the trip meters for this test.
So right now we're in the middle of our trip on the way north. So right now on the Brio, I am getting 70.7 stops in the field. Preferable to say the least, but let's check in with the Chevy and the Civic. So Ken, how's the thing doing?
So, I'm doing 20 kilometers per liter. Ikaw, Ash?
How about the Civic? Civic doing?
So, cruise control at 100, adaptive. I'm at 17.7 as well.
Okay, so right now the Civic and the City is faring better than the Brio. Let's just do steady fuel economy later, okay?
Pero, guys, important question. Ano, aircon settings ninyo? Ako, 22 degrees, fan speed 1.
Ikaw, Roy?
Fan speed 2 and 1/4. I don't have temperature test.
So, ako, 20, fan speed 1.
Pwede na, it's a tie na rin.
Now we're riding in the Honda Civic RS with a 1.5 liter turbocharged engine right now that makes around 175 horses and 240 torques. So now, is there really a replacement for displacement, as they say? Well, Honda sometimes thinks it is, because when the Honda Civic was first introduced right here in the Philippines with the EF hatchback, right away they replaced it with the EG hatchback and ESI sedan. They moved up from either 1.5 liter naturally aspirated to a 1.6 liter naturally aspirated, and then they moved up even further as the generations moved along. You had the option to go for the super economical Honda Civic, either with a 1.5 liter with the LXI and a 1.6 liter, even a 1.6 liter DOHC B16 engine that really didn't make good fuel economy but had really high horsepower rating at 160 at that time. Now, the last time we actually felt that there was some sort of difference or delineation between a small displacement and high displacement for the Honda Civic. So with the 8th generation Honda Civic FD, now you got the 1.8 liter, you've got the K20 engine. There was even an option for a K20 with a manual. Try looking for that in your Facebook Marketplace. Now, as we approach the current generation Honda Civic, you might think that we now have no option. We only have the 1.5 liter turbo. Well, now that we bring in the 2 liter EHEV engine, we still have the options that we get. It's just that with the EHEV, I've heard a lot of stories that you get your cake and eat it too. So you get the power and you get the fuel economy. But right now, this is what we have, and it feels pretty good. Now let's talk about the Honda City. Now the Honda City holds a special place in my heart because back in high school, the Honda City IDSI, that was actually my dream car. It looked like, so some people thought it looked like a cockroach because of its weird proportions, but to me, it was perfect. You got a small hood, a large deck, It's all good. But going back to 1996, when the first generation, well, supposedly first generation here in the Philippines, Honda City was introduced, it was a pretty nice economical car. I mean, even now it is, but back then you had a couple of options. First off, you've got the Honda City LXi. The LXi had a 1.5 liter naturally aspirated single overhead cam engine, and it was pretty straightforward. Then moving on to the second generation. Second generation here, Honda City, two engine options: a 1.3 liter IDSI engine, which was okay. It was very economical, but it wasn't really big on speed. Then there was the 1.5 liter single overhead cam VTEC engine that also made some sort of power, but not going to be as powerful as the Honda Civic, of course. But paired with the ULTR seats and all the versatility of the interior, plus a little bit more power and the CVT, it was definitely something that would still really be a good option right now in 2024. In fact, they're offering it in the current generation Honda City, in the hatchback at least. So right now, you no longer have the option to get a 1.3 liter engine with the Honda City. Ever since 2014, you got the 1.5 liter single overhead cam, and with the current generation, it now upgraded itself to dual overhead cam. So right now, the Honda City seems to be moving up market, just like the Civic before it. But that answers our question really about, is there really a replacement for displacement? Maybe in the future we might see a hybrid with the Honda City and the Honda City hatchback. But that leaves us with a question really. With the Hondas that we were used to growing up, you had these budget options and all that, and now the budget options seem to be moving up in the market. What options do you have? That's where the Honda Brio comes in. Now the Honda Brio, when it was first introduced here, it had this really quirky and funky design. It had this hatch that was made out of glass. Kind of reminds me a lot of the Honda CRX back in the 80s. The Honda CRX, if you are not familiar with it, check it out on Google. It's one of the most stolen vehicles in the US because of its street cred. It looks really like that boxy hatchback in Grand Theft Auto, and it's really apt that a lot of people are committing Grand Theft Auto just to get it in the US. But going back to my point, the Honda Brio really had this nice funky look, and when it was first introduced, had a 1.3 liter engine, same as the Honda Jazz, exactly the same as the Honda Jazz, but in a much lighter and smaller frame. Now the current generation Honda Brio, they've actually kind of scaled down with the engine size. If it used to have the 1.3 liter engine, it now only has a 1.2 liter engine, giving it a little bit of a penalty when it comes to overall power. But gone is the 4-speed automatic. Instead of having a 4-speed automatic, it now has a CVT. So what I do appreciate about the 1.2 liter in the current generation Honda Brio is that it maintains that 4-cylinder engine. Now a lot of the Brio's competition would have a 3-cylinder in it, which might be good for fuel economy, but it doesn't do great when it comes to noise, vibration, and harshness. And I do wish that a lot of cars would implement that in their cars at least, like the Honda Brio. But would that fare well for the Brio when it comes to our fuel economy challenge if we compare it to the Civic and the City? Well, let's find out.
So time check, it's 7 a.m. We're here in Clark. So joke lang pala yung 100 kilometers from QC to Clark. It's around 80 kilometers lang.
Konting background sa gas. So syempre unleaded, normal yung Brio and yung City. And yung Civic, kahit 1.5 turbo siya, 91 lang din yung requirement. So actually, we spent pretty much the same amount, which is surprising.
And we did the boy math when it comes to these cars right here. And here's what we were waiting for, the highway fuel economy results for these three cars. So first of all, we got the Honda Brio coming in at 15.3 kilometers per liter on the highway, which is amazing. Then we've got the Honda City Sedan RS, comes at 15.4 kilometers per liter, which is also amazing. But guess what? The winner of this Comparo will be, when it comes to fuel economy, of course, will be the Honda Civic RS with a 1.5 liter turbocharged engine, 175 horsepower, 16.5 kilometers per liter. Now the reason behind it, of course, it would be the power and torque that we've had in the Honda Civic RS. Now it's been cruising at 100 kilometers per hour at just 1.5 thousand RPMs, which is nothing, especially when you're cruising downtown. And of course, we got the Honda City right here. It was at around 2,000, 2,500, and the Brio is working double time when it comes to catching up these two at 3,000 RPM. So it might be a great city car, and of course a good highway cruiser as well. But when it comes to power and fuel economy on the highway, here we go. So remember the parameters. We've got all these cars got CVT or continuously variable transmissions. So if you guys were expecting the lighter, less powerful hatchback with the Brio RS to win, give me a comment in the comment section down below. Tell me what you think, or what you think about the results. So before anything else, let's admire how these cars look. One thing that can't be denied is that Honda's looks are never underrated. For example, we got the Honda Brio RS right here. It's been refreshed for 2024. It's got a new updated grille right here, a new fog lamp assembly in the lower half bumper there. It definitely looks even more sportier. And of course, we've got it right here in the stellar diamond pearl color scheme, which just looks amazing. Kind of reminds me a lot of that battleship gray color that Hondas have in the 90s. And you got a black roof up top because it's the black top edition of the RS. So you got blacked out side mirrors. You got these dark 16-inch alloy wheels, and even in the rear, it's got a new rear. It kind of resembles a lot like a rear diffuser, but it's definitely not. But it looks really nice. Now, so when you look at the inside, that's where you feel a couple of the cost-cutting measures that you've got with the Honda Brio RS. It doesn't have a center armrest. It's got fabric seats, but it has that nice pattern design right there in the middle. Reminds me a lot of those old Hondas in the 90s. Also, the touchscreen infotainment system definitely leaves a lot to be wanting more, but you've got 6 speakers to work with. At least you got that going. It's really Spartan and sparse inside, but at least it's usable. Something that I really miss about some of these features, especially when driving on the highway, that center armrest, really something that I miss. And then we head on over to Honda City Sedan RS. Again, this has been refreshed for 2023. You got this new grille right here, a new bumper right there. It's a blink or you miss it kind of dealy, but one of the most important upgrades that we got here is it now has Honda sensing. So you got cruise control, adaptive cruise control, and a couple of other Honda niceties that you've got here. But overall, the Honda City is definitely something that's not to be taken lightly, especially with the hatchback version. Someone's called me out saying that I actually love it too much, that I have too many videos of it on the channel already. Well, you got me there. And the sedan is really of no exception as well. And then we head on over to the big boy, the bad boy right here, the Honda Civic Sedan RS. And wow, yeah, they've experienced a new refresh this year as well. You won't be seeing it right here because this is the pre-facelift variant. The new Honda Civic has a new grille right here in the front, and of course the biggest change are those wheels. What we have right here in the pre-facelifted Honda Civic Sedan RS is one of the most amazing OEM wheels that I have found, and it might take me a couple of days or weeks before I can get used to the new Honda Civic RS wheels. One thing that I've noticed about the Honda Civic though is that its ride position is mounted really low. You can actually mount it lower to the ground, giving you a more sporty appeal, or what I call the Honda Broline. It's time to flip the script this time around, and we'll be sending out these 3 cars out in the city. We'll be battling out in holiday highway traffic. Probably the results will be flipped around, but tell me about that in the comment section down below, what you think the results is going to be. So let's get the H out of here.
So for our last leg, the city mileage, we started at a gas station near the end of NLEX to our usual spot here in Ortigas with a grand total of 19 kilometers. Conditions, heavy rain, heavy traffic during post-lunch hour. But luckily, the rain stopped.
All right, so finally here are the results that you've been waiting for after 2 grueling hours just to get here. That's a 19-kilometer trip for 2 freaking hours. we've got the results. So remember, during the highway drive, the Civic won easily because of its powerful engine and some huge torque numbers.
So for the city mileage test, same rules, full tank method. So we filled up near the end of NLEX, filled up at a gas station nearby here, got the odometer reading for our trip meters, and divided it by the number of liters we loaded.
Guess what? Well, let me give you the figures first. For the Civic, after doing a little bit of boy math right here, filling up at the edge of NLEX and right here in the city, so the gauge read 9.1, which is very optimistic. I was actually happy to hear that coming from the Civic, but once we did our fill up right here in the city, 5.82. For the Brio, according to its gauge cluster, it gave me 11 kilometers per liter, and then when we did the math, 11.5, which is absolutely not bad. And guess who the winner is in the city drive? It's the Honda City Sedan RS, which read 11.1, but actually did 15.4 kilometers per liter, which is almost hybrid-like. Guys, what's going on? I mean, I would have actually thought that the smaller engine with a lighter car would have won that city match. My theory is that the 1.5 liter NA engine's well matched with its weight, with the transmission, that it had enough power to go through the city without even having to tap on the accelerator that much. Or maybe Kent is the car whisperer that we never know. So that's the results that we got from these tests right here. It's a very scientific method. You know, we could probably get our doctorate degrees right now, but your mileage will literally vary. So drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Tell me what your results are. Thanks so much for watching. It's starting to rain, Emma. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Peace. Ay, sayang.